as a small business, you create a vision and a mission. Sometimes you have this vision and you get so caught up in the day-to-day things, you kind of forget what you're really there for and what it's all about as you go through. Customer service, yes, but at the end of the day, it's about profit. It's about breaking even. Sometimes it's about giving back to the community in certain areas that you go through. Frankly, if you don't do that in your company, I think you're missing out. It's surprising. In our business, we went through, and we really do a lot with the American Red Cross. People didn't know that we existed. Oh, wow, you're sponsoring this? That's really cool, and everything else. And you're doing something for the community as you go through. Yeah, those are things that have in your vision as you go through. But overall, why are you there as you go through? Really a vision statement. It's one broad sentence statement. You don't need to say more than one sentence as you go through. Some people do as you go through, and some people talk too much. But the reality is that the vision is big picture, and from that, you want to sit down and have a mission statement underneath that that's specific to the different avenues that you want your overall corporate aim to have as you go through. Big vision. We want to make cars as you go through. We want to make electric cars. We want to make rechargeable electric cars that can plug into a house. We want to make electric cars with solar cells that to be partially powered. We want to sit down and whatever your vision is you go through, and then have 2 or 3 different things that you're going to sit down and focus on the different avenues. Don't get too caught up here in your founding stage, though. You want to sit down and have them, but don't sit down and spend all time trying to craft these things in the process. You just want to start your business. And here probably is the bottom line on your goals. Broad, long-term accomplishments you wish to attain. Sometimes the goals you're going to sit down and look at, you have the big picture things, your vision and mission, then your goals, you want to be able to achieve your goals in 1 to 3 years as you go through. And your objective, you typically want to achieve them in the next year as you go through. Goal. In 3 years, have a 20% increase in sales or a 45% increase in sales if you're a brand new person from your first year as you go through. Well, maybe your objective the first year is to have a 15% increase over the sales of the previous year as you go through. Have specific things as you go through with goals, a 1 to 3 year thing, and then really your objectives, a 1 year thing as you go through the process. A lot of times we use a thing called SMART goals as you go through. By SMART, it's specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and time-bound as you go through as a process. Really specific. If you're going to set a goal, get specific about the area you're going to have. I will do marketing as you go through. I want to be more organized. I want to have this. And you go down the list. Be specific as you go through and have some type of way to measure what your success rate on that goal as you go through. Make certain it's real and it's attainable. Don't do something ridiculous you can't do and accomplish. Yes, sometimes it's nice to have a pipe dream, but make your goals real, relevant, and realistic as you go through, and put some kind of timeline in the process. We call those SMART goals as you go through. Let me go back over them again, just for you understanding the process. Specific, measurable, attainable, realistic as you go through, relevant to your organization, and time related. SMART goals as you go through. Guide the business as you go through. My goals, they're well defined. Do you have the right strategy as you go through? And then can you execute the strategy as you go through? Sometimes you're going to sit down and go through and have a strategy and it's not working. Sometimes you need to pull in your horns and say, okay, this is not working. I'm at the same place I was 1 year ago. I have a problem. Let me go back. In my case, I call my board as you go through and get their input as you go through and say, boom, 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 let's talk about this as you go through. Few things can replace a checklist or a to-do list as you go through. Create 1 week out of specific goals and flesh it out, so to speak. Put some meat on the bones of the bare checklist thing that you have to do. Stay on the list until it gets done or resolved, and create a new one each week. There's really 4 major type of planning in any industry that you go to. Strategic planning, typically we focus in on 3 years or more out as you go through. Once upon a time it was 5 years and out. 3 years and out works fine, especially for a small business. Tactical planning is typically 1 to 3 years. If you pay attention to what we just talked about already, really your vision and mission tie in to your strategic planning as you go through. Your goals go through and they tie into your tactical planning. You're taking the big picture and you're breaking it down into 1 to 3 year goals in the process as you go through. And then once you sit down and you pay attention to your 1 to 3 year goals, you need to accomplish them, and you have operational plan that really is the implementation of those 1 to 3 year goals or those tactical objectives as you go through. And you really want to break them down to a month by month, sometimes week by week, or even day by day as you go through. The fourth kind of planning we call it contingency, which is a planning for an emergency. A lot of times you do all this planning and it never comes out the same way you think in the process. All of a sudden you have this crisis over here, and it's got nothing to do with your contingency planning ahead of time, but you can take a plan over here and implement it, and you have a way to think about things in the process. You can sit down and move to a different plan and actually be prepared in that regards too. So you really have 4 different kinds of planning as you go through: strategic, big picture, 3 years and out; tactical planning, 1 to 3 years. We call that really the aspect of 1 to 3 years. You really focus in on your goals, and then you sit down and look at your objectives, and they tie those in to your operational planning, which is 1 year and less, and then the contingency planning in case things go wrong. Create a vision and mission, plan, have SMART goals, but above all things, move forward with action. Take care.